sometimes your brother got to trip you to keep you from going the wrong way because you don't want to listen. But the obstacle is the way. If you go in the right way, you're going to experience some pushback. If you it, the enemy not gonna never stop you when he know you going the wrong way. So if you going the right way, he gonna put every obstacle in your path, and sometimes he gonna use the ones closest to you to do it. It's your noble nature that's gonna override the negative thrown at you, and that's how you gonna come out on that golden horse of truth.
I see.
Let a motherfucker throw stones at your house. Just hope he don't live in the glass one.
I see.
Right? Because everybody that throws stones gonna get stones thrown back. And if you don't believe me, ask Angel Bay.
I see.
and, and the people that thought they broke in and had their feet up on your couch, figured they was just gonna move in. This is eviction time. So remember, you gotta have a series of events that paves your path back home in order for you to complete your mission. Your mission not complete till you get back home. Let that sink in.
I see.
Right? Once you get back home, now you can deal with everything from a place of comfort and perspective now. You don't know that you have opposition in your circle until you in a condition or position where the opposition shows its head. Right? We watch leaders rise, but we don't never see the people closest to them as they saboteurs. We see them as their support system, and their support system got what's called a weak beam. It's an infiltrator in there.
I see.
Right? So go back to why Farrakhan did not stop Wallace Muhammad from decentralizing the Nation of Islam before he come back several years later and start to rebuild it. Why he ain't stop him? Why he ain't just pick up and be like, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but we're not finna decentralize nothing. Because they would have listened to him back then, but there was a problem. He had to get the infiltrators out.
I see. And it's all
Then rebuild the whole nation back to its original glory, minus the infiltrators. And if they in there, don't worry about it because we know who they is. We gonna put them in a position where they hang themselves. You know, everybody is not playing the game on the same level. And very, very few people, I can only name about 5 people playing on Elijah Muhammad level in the history of America.
You know, it's funny, G. Sister Jada called me today, and she wanted to go on with brother Roosevelt, and we were going to talk about a lot of that stuff. They want to hit you up too, but they most definitely want to talk about it on the hidden keys and shit that was going on, and looking at shit.
That topic, Rod. I heard you mention Crip walking. I guess Crip walking. There's some spirituality behind Crip walking, huh?
Yeah, that's a part of a accumulation of the rain dance. That's called the lightning.
The lightning.
The lightning. So in ancient times, it used to be called crooked walking. The crooked man walking across the land. That's lightning. That's Big Tookie. Right? All of the Crips that Crip walk in his honor gives power to that force of lightning that we call the crooked man. Right? So when they first thawed Tookie out, because they had him in cryostasis, and when they first thawed him out, then the Crips went to Crip walking, it was lightning every goddamn where. I was reporting it in real time while it was happening, and I was telling them and I was showing them, I was like, look, the Crips walking, And Tukey waking up out of this motherfucking frozen state, you know, this finna be a problem for the system because now they got the third king added to the equation.
Yeah, and I can attest that post 2019, there has been definitely a very pronounced Crip resurgence. You know, when we went to Nipsey's homegoing service in LA, we was like, this shit is like a Crip cathedral. I ain't never seen so many Crips in my life. And in terms of it becoming imprinted on culture, it just pretty much has taken a stronghold. You know, we've seen the Crip resurgence in Brooklyn by way of the Brooklyn Crips and the Woos and the Chews and all of that. So, you know, can you speak to what relationship, whether it's esoteric or whether it's something that connects to you know, the bonds, what relationship do Chicago street organizations have with LA gangs?
Um, it's funny you would say that because we all vice lords, right? That's Big Mama house. Larry and Jeff from Mississippi, and Tookie from Louisiana, I believe, right? And all that is Big Mama's territory. So when Big Mama boys go out, we connected across the land. We don't have to have eyes on each other to know what each other doing. So when I was a little boy, Big Mama told me that when I get big, I I was to leave no stone unturned. I didn't know what it meant as a child, but she was talking about restoring the land and restoring the people and putting the kings back in their positions. I began to learn that over time as the many messages that her and my mama gave me begin to just come together um like transformers in my brain, and it just started clicking, right? And once it started clicking, like I'm having dreams, I'm having visions. I'm like, man, this is like I'm going through it, you know, on a spiritual front. Like it wasn't for the weak. So I see why they told me to do it because they said wasn't nobody else gonna do it, right? Because the spiritual work is so trained on the psyche that if you're not an old soul, you might not be able to make it, right? So um when the connection come in is that all of them was dispatched. It was more than them, right? Them just the three high chiefs on the land, right? And they came to me in the dream as three sky chiefs, which was three constellations of stars written in three chiefs' head in full feather regalia. Now I got to figure out who they is and where they at, right? And that's where the problem come in at because I'm seeing a culture that's not our culture. So now I got to read this new culture because if it was just our culture, I could have found them in 20 minutes. But in this new culture that's overlaying our culture upside down and backwards, now I have to do comparative analysis, cross references, right? I have to extrapolate from a key phrase or certain word that somebody dropped in the 1800s, right? I had to go do all this control remote viewing back in time to see who was doing what. Right now, I gotta learn how to do this shit though. I don't just know it, and then I can't tell nobody while I'm learning because they already think I'm crazy because of the shit that I be saying. It's outside of their ability to comprehend and their cognitive dissonance. The only remedy for it is to assume that I'm insane, right? But the psychologists and the psychiatrists, they wanted to know when I was gonna open the school so they could get classes.
Right.
You know, so
Hey,
I
hey, you,
mean,
hey, Rod, you referred to this. I believe I was watching a YouTube video earlier. I think it was the channel was a Galactic Talk or something. You referred to what's going on as uh, galactic chess game
yep.
and on a 5D chessboard. I want you to elaborate on that. I never that kind of caught my that my son got shit on my face, y'all. Yeah, elaborate on that a little bit for me.
So the fifth dimensional chessboard is a conjure weapon, and we was
Explain
challenged
for
to a
those who
fight.
don't know. Explain when you say conjure weapon. I just want the people to know, just in case they don't know what you mean by that.
Conjure weapons are those things used in spiritual warfare while you on the earth.
Mm,
5D galactic chess consists of almost every game you could think of. They all involved at the same time. They playing. You got to play on every board. I'm talking. You playing Scrabble. You playing Yahtzee. You playing kid game tag, stop and go.
mm,
Right. When you put them all together, but you got to only play them from a mental standpoint, which puts you in fourth dimensional matrix, mind matrix. Right. So they say it's a game of masterminds.
mm,
And the mastermind is the man who masters his mind. But it's a board game because you got to be bored to play it. That means that the rules come from the board games, right? Then, if you're really good in the galactic chess game, you can put puzzles together in a holographic framework in the mind, and you can put together three-dimensional puzzles. Take them apart. So you learning how to use the mind for higher thought, as it say in the Christian Bible. Let this mind be in you, which was in Christ Jesus, who thought not it a sin to be equal with God.
mm,
Right. In other words, put put your mind in God mind, put God mind in you.
mm,
Psychoanalyze God, you will be absorbed by your God mind. Right. If you learn forensic profiling, profile on the characters in the Bible, and then you start to see a different story than this narrative you've been given. Right? Because we're looking at a psychopathic, narcissistic, sociopathic, pedophile predator with homosexual tendencies. That's in Lil, right? But then he's going to war with this other one that's this all loving, kind, compassionate, caring God. That's Inky. So now it's a war going on, the 19th song versus the 119th song. When the birds of the feather flock together, Enlil's children go home to him. They look like us, but they ain't us. They come from a different branch of the family tree off of a different galactic order,
mm,
right? So we not looking at all of the different cultures collectively in order to find out what's going on. We only looking at American History 101, algebra, right? Then we get to college where we might do some real stuff like take up some arts and entertainment classes or something, you know, couple business classes, learn how to function real good in the slave system. My mind is saying, how we gonna take this shit over the whole time? I'm gonna play this motherfucking game, but when my brother's gonna wake up so we can take this shit back over, put everything back how it's supposed to be. Raise the matriarchy, put the power where it goes so everything will run the way it's supposed to run. Right? So when we study, listen to music, we always picking the side. Who the best? Biggie or Pac? Pick a side. Who the best? Michael Jackson the Prince? Pick a side. Right? Who better? Jackie Wilson or Sam Cooke? Pick a side. You like rock and roll or rap? Pick a side. Everything that they can do to divide you up into different categories and classifications, they're gonna do it, including label you the colors of crayons. Ain't no black people, ain't no white people, right? The reality of it is those are chess terms. But if you don't know the legalese, you'll never know that because they give it to you in the colloquial language as crayons. And then they tell you that these people is black people and these people is white people. But they don't ever tell you that the black people in law is civilly dead people. And the white people in law are the people who is the ones owning the ones that's civilly dead. That's why they trade like a birth certificate and death certificate on the international stock exchange, right? So once one of us know, our culture say, don't shut the fuck up till we all of us know sufficiently enough to change the condition, right? So I ain't shutting up.
Hey, you talked earlier about us being here in America, not coming from slave ships. Over the past 5 years, we witnessed, with Donald Trump, especially when he was in office, we witnessed the knocking down of a lot of Confederate statues. Now, I also heard you say the Confederates, that was our shit, that was us right there. So, could you give us some history of the Confederates? I'm sure a lot of us are miseducated on who the Confederates really were
The
and why.
real
And
Confederates is the Confederate, the Iroquois Confederation of Nations. That's the Confederates, and they ruled from the South. They didn't rule from the North, right? And that's why they say the South will rise again. That's why they gave us the northern upward orientation on the map. That's not the right orientation, so you automatically disorient it looking at the map because your perception is upside down already. So the
Can you explain
Confederation
that to them,
was
please?
the, say it again, Peel,
And I said, can you explain that to them? Can you walk them through that
which part?
about the map being upside down?
Yeah, so we was always a southern oriented people. All of our ancient maps, the South is up, right? And um North is down. They gave it to us backwards in order to disorient us. You ever hear people say the sun rise in the west and set in the east?
Mm-hmm.
Because they got us looking at it backwards. Everything is upside down and backwards. That's so that you can never get the proper orientation to gain your
Right.
bearings.
Right. Your bearings and directions, your connection to Polaris. Case in point, we can geographically settle the argument right now. Right. I'm in the South. I'm in Georgia. It's at a 3,500 foot elevation. Rich is in New York, right, which is at sea level. So is he up north or is he down north? Am I up south or am I down south? Just think about it, y'all.
Yeah, you actually up south,
Thank you.
right? So the land they call down under, Australia is really on the top of the world, right? But they want us to think it's Alaska and the North Pole is the top.
Right. It's
Now,
Australia. That's why they want a top down approach. They got the camps there first to trickle it down.
so what do this mean psychologically? You already disoriented. You already looking at stuff upside down. So when they teaching you the map, this information is going in upside down and backwards. Your true self know that it's upside down, but it's trying to figure out how to tell your ego self. But your ego self believe what the world around it tell it to because your ego is conceived by the world outside you. Your true self is who you was when you was born, without nobody telling you who you are. Right? So different cultures we have different rituals for naming children. Some children don't even get a name till they 5 years old. because a character hasn't pronounced itself enough in order to identify who and what they are, right? Some children tell you what their name is at an early age. You gotta keep asking them. Every day you ask them, what's your name? What's your name? And the baby gonna tell you. Sooner or later, the baby gonna tell you what their name is. It normally take around 9 months. And the mother gotta be persistent. Now I don't know if this is the case, but I believe that's why Affinity changed Tupac's name at 9 months. Because I believe he told her who he was. So she gave him his name. Right? So that automatically puts them at odds with the corporation. Any one of us that remember who we are at that early of an age is an automatic problem. We are automatic problem, right? So what do is we start to return back to our cultural ways, right? It's certain stuff that we do and certain stuff that we just don't do, right? We don't cover up bad men to keep the good men from correcting them, right? In this system, they got bad men gonna come in and correct the bad man. Make that shit make sense. The devil gonna correct the devil, but he gonna take all the good men in the process. So he only not really correcting the bad men. He just using them as the hedges to wrap in the good men. Take the chiefs off the land and leave the people in disarray. Where there is no structure, there is no order. And where there is no order, you can send them in no direction. It's just basic human knowledge of the human species. How do we move? We move with nature. There's somebody here not moving with nature, but is moving exactly the opposite of nature. Right? So when we talk about restoring the balance, going back to the matriarchy, restoring might, this is what we're talking about, going back to nature. We can have nature and Silicon Valley. But Silicon Valley got to follow nature rules. Nature don't got to follow Silicon Valley rules. So they came with AI because they thought AI could beat God. And God whooped AI ass with a 19-point convergence to override a 4-point convergence in quantum encryption. Because God got 19 points of quantum convergence, that 4-point quantum convergence that AI do will not keep up. Right? And this is the sacred sealing of the AI in order to keep it from taking over the world. Right? So we have to know our culture, our ways, and how all of these things come together. So when they take the map and turn it upside down, they also turning your psyche upside down. But you don't know it because it happens that you're at such an early age, you never had a chance to orient yourself to the world around you. And they taking the babies earlier and earlier. Daycare at 8 months old, 6 months old, 4 months old. Mama got to go back to work. If that ain't insanity, I don't know what is. You muted.
All right, y'all should hear me now. Yeah, this is some good conversation here, family. I want to thank everybody. We at the hour mark right now. I'm gonna take Q&A soon. I see they've been asking questions the whole show, man. They're excited, so I want to get to them and allow